Hey folks, I'm Red. Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be speaking to the new black powder shooters, the inexperienced shooters, the ones that ask the question when they get a new black powder rifle or a black powder rifle. The question is, how much powder do I shoot? What projectile do I shoot? And what do I sight in the rifle for? Well, we're going to try and answer those questions today by shooting the Thompson Center 45 Hawken. This is a new rifle to me. I haven't shot it yet, and we're going to let the rifle tell us what load to shoot in it by working up a load. So we're going to be shooting Pirate XP. I know a lot of people are out there, if it's not black powder, it's not right, but we're going to be shooting Pirate X for this video. Patched round ball, 440 ball with pillow tick patch, number 11 caps, and we got our target set up 25 yards. So we're going to see which loading puts out the best group, and whatever the tightest group is that we get with a certain powder charge, that's going to be our go-to load. That's what we're going to load in, and that's what we're going to use to sight in with. But we need to find out what grain weight load of powder is going to give us the most consistent, tightest groups. So we'll get that figured out and we'll go from there. Alright, we're going to do a quick rundown of what we're going to be shooting today, and a few things that new shooters are going to need to pick up that are going to be crucial, vital pieces of equipment for black powder. The ball that we're shooting today is Hornady swaged 440 round ball. It's just it's 120, I believe 127 grain ball. These are pillow tick cotton patches, woven patches that are 15th thick, 0.015 thickness. Standard number 11 caps. Now, as far as equipment, an adjustable powder measure. These can be picked up at sporting goods stores. They can be ordered online. You can find them, sometimes even, believe it or not, pawn shops will have some black powder supplies. But a short ball starter for starting balls, and whatever container you have for your powder. This is a powder horn. It has a pre-measure spout and a little plunger here that pre-measures out a certain amount of powder, but we're still going to use the powder measure to make sure we're getting the right amount of powder, and we don't want any mishaps. You really don't want to pour powder directly from your powder container into a barrel, especially if you've been shooting, because if there's anything still hot down at the bottom of the breech tail, it could cause a flashback. So we're gonna load this up and show you the procedure for that. Okay, now that we have our basic components for loading and shooting, with shooting, the number one priority is safety. So we want to make sure that our rifle is not loaded, or that a load may have gotten forgotten from the previous season. So we'll take our ramrod, and I have a mark on this ramrod. That's the load mark. So when this rifle is loaded, it goes down till that mark is flush with the top of the barrel. If it's unloaded or completely cleaned out, it'll go past that line. So we know that this rifle is not currently loaded. Put this rod back. Now I have a range rod here to use while at the range. The rod that's with the rifle, I normally use it while in field or hunting situations. So we're going to save wear and tear on our actual loading rod and use the range rod for today. Now the first thing we want to do is take our powder measure, and I've adjusted it to 45 grains by volume. Black powder and powder substitutes are measured in grains by volume, not by weight. Now there are some out there that actually do weigh out black powder charges to get it more minutely exact to a specific weight, and but we're gonna do it the way it should be done, in my opinion, and just use by volume. So we'll dump powder into the measure, until we get our 45 grains. A couple taps, swivel this around. Okay, 45 grains of 3F powder going in. Pick the rifle up and give it just a few bumps to settle powder. And take our patch, lay it directly over the muzzle, and kind of center the ball as best you can. It's not going to be perfect. We center the ball and get it as close, and we take our short starter, and there's a little nub just right here. I don't know if you can see that, just a little nub there that we use to actually start the ball. Now it's started, we'll turn this over, kind of bunch the patch, and now short started. Take our ramrod. Now that ball is seated on top of the powder now. There are so many people out there that say, well, you got to take your ramrod and ram it down onto the ball or the projectile, whatever it is, until it bounces. I don't agree with this personally. I prefer to use a palm saver, and what I'll do is one good hard lean down to seat that powder. If that projectile stops, beating on it is not really going to do anything more for you other than distort your projectile, damage your rod, possibly damage the riflings of your rifle. So me, again, like I say, I'll send it down until it's there, and one little lean on push, and that's it. We'll get our vise round. Set our rifle up here. The rifle is now in half cock, as you can see, because the hammer is sitting off of the nipple. This piece is our nipple, this is our hammer. This is where our cap is going to go. So right now we're going to go ahead and bring that back to full cock. Pick up our cap, number 11. Set it firmly on the nipple. Now the rifle is ready to fire. So that's what we're going to get into right now. Okay, now that we're all loaded up, we've got our cap on, we're ready to fire. On Thompson Center, if you notice, there's two triggers here, a rear trigger and a front trigger. This rear one, when you pull it all the way back till it clicks, it sets the front trigger to a very, very light trigger. And it is adjustable with a small screw between them, so you can set how light that trigger is after it's set. This one I've already set before we came out here to kind of where I like for the trigger to break. So we've got that set. So I'm going to set this trigger, and we're going to take a shot and see what we end up with on our first shot with the Hawken. And that actually was a good shot. We actually hit our dot down there, a little to the right, about 3 o'clock. But at 25 yards with first shot, I'll take it. We'll get reloaded and we'll try that again. Okay, shot number 2 with 45 grains of 3F. And we're still in orange. Okay, as you can see with our first 2 shots, our first shot was here with 45 grains of powder. Our second shot was just right above it with 45 grains of powder. It's actually starting to look like a pretty good group, but this is only 25 yards. So we're going to finish out our sequence of working up a load and move back. Try that again. All right. Third and final shot with 45 grains of 3F in the 45 Hawken. Let's see what it does. go take a look.
Okay, our first 3 shots out of the Hawken rifle at 25 yards, 45 grains of 3F powder, and this is the group we came up with. This was our first shot, this was our second shot, and this is our third shot. The group's a little bit to the right, but the group's good, so we definitely have a direction to go in as far as finishing out our workup for our load.
We've done our 45 by volume weight of 3F, so now we're going to move on to 50. We're going to do 3 shots of 50 grains. We'll see what kind of group we get with those. First shot with 50 grains. Okay, shot number 2 with 50 grains of 3F at 25 yards. Let's see what it does. Okay, 50 grains of 3F powder at 25 yards. Let's see what happens. Okay, 60 grains of 3F at 25 yards. Let's see what it does. First shot. Shot number 2 was 60 grains, 3F, 25 yards. All right, third and final shot with 60 grains, 3F, 25 yards. Alright guys, we had a little bit of a mechanical malfunction at the range with our equipment, but doing the recap here back at headquarters. Alright, so our 45 grain charge, 3F powder at 25 yards with a patch round ball did really good. Now I would actually use this particular load for just a target load, a fun load, you know, an off-season, keep the rifle in tune type load, because that's actually pretty good just for plinking and playing and you know, experiment with other projectiles. 50 grains started open a little bit. We've got a little bit of a string pulled right. Everything is really kind of pulling right, but it started to string a little bit with the patch round ball, and then we jumped straight over to 60 and really got kind of crazy with our group over here. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we try a different projectile. We've still got several different kinds of conicals, solid slug bullets, buffalo bullets, Great Plains bullets, sabots and along those lines that we can try with higher grain charges of powder to see if we can get 60 grains charge, maybe 65-ish, to look a little closer to what the 45 was looking at 25 yards. But it's all in experimentation. It's all see what your rifle likes best, what shoots the best out of your rifle, and just play with loads. And that's actually load development in a nutshell. You just have to take your rifle, shoot it, figure out what it likes, and that's whatever it shoots the best, whether it be 45 grains, 50, 55, 60, whatever grain weight that it shoots the best group with what you're shooting, that's what you're going to want to use. And that's what we're still trying to find with this particular rifle. And it looks like with the results like this, we're going to keep hunting until we find it. So that's the fun part. Conical shooting out of this rifle, that'll be next video, and then we'll get into some other videos, and hope you guys are there.